Hello and welcome back to the channel. Oh boy, have we been blessed today. Tom MacDonald, Tommy McToodly2, has released a song called America. Yay. When we react to Tom MacDonald, we have fun talking about political stuff when he gets on these tirades, but I've never seen him just go straight up and just call something America. I just feel the America vibes coming in strong, and the song hasn't even started yet. When I do Tom MacDonald reactions, usually I, trigger a good portion of the conservative audience I have, which is great. It's fun for two reasons. One, conservatives pretend that they can't get triggered, but that's a lie. Two, because most of my content triggers liberals. Like when I do ERB reactions that are political, or really any of my other political commentary, almost always triggers liberals. At the end of the day, if I trigger you with my political commentary, it's a you problem, not a me problem, because I'm very much politically centered. So the only things I'm going to trigger are extremist views that you hold either to the left or the right. With that being said, I'm about to have some fun triggering some of you, just like Tom has fun triggering people. It's great. The difference is I usually trigger Tom's audience. So, it's fine. All right, let's enjoy it. Fun fact to anyone that I trigger during this video, Tom and I's political views are probably more closely aligned than your and Tom's political views. Just let that sink in.
Lately, USA is getting scarier. Half of the Americans I see all hate America. They hate the cops doing their best.
Let me move myself. These are ones we've heard before. I want to see if there's any new things that Thomas will bring for us to get to dive into. But we've heard these before on prior Tom songs, almost said in the same way.
To kneel for the flag and salt the soldiers that were burying.
All right, so that shots fired at things, Colin Kaepernicks of the world. I don't know how many people are still kneeling during the anthem. I don't know if that's still a thing. I'm more on the side just, do you really need to? Do you really need to kneel? There's other ways to protest that don't disrespect the whole country like that. You don't have to show respect if you feel like mistreated by the country, but there's better ways. It's kind of a goofy way to do it.
I'm tired of the pissing and complaining. Why you living in America if all you do is hate it?
Of all the people to say that, we pause a lot of this channel, so get used to it. Of all the people to say that, I feel like Tom has a very good right to say that. He's Canadian. He's become an American citizen. So if anyone's gonna say, yo, if you hate it so much, leave, bro, Tom could say it, because I feel like he looked at Canada, and Canada is politically a nightmare. And he said, nah, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else that I like better, America. So he did it. He's saying, look, if you're like me and you don't like where you were born or where you live at, then leave. It really isn't that hard. But you can leave. However, counter argument to that people don't bring up enough. What if you do love the country, you just don't love things that are happening within it? Well, you wouldn't want to abandon ship then. You'd want to do everything you can to change it from within. So,
You think it's brave to take a stand against the nation? Real bravery is dying for the right so you can say it.
Well, soldiers dying for the country, that's bravery, but also we shouldn't be doing that right now. Like, why are there so many freaking wars? If we were at war anywhere, shouldn't it be against like countries where they're threatening global acts of attacks like North Korea or freaking China? I always look at like brave soldiers dying for their country, stuff like World War II, but Vietnam and the Iraq War and all this other crap, I'm like, God bless the soldiers, but the generals sending us to war, fuck y'all. Also, social justice crusading, there's nothing brave about any of that crap. Oh, you're so brave. You protested outside of Starbucks and then started a riot. Fuck you.
Dear America, what happened to Americans? Apparently no one's aware or cares that it's embarrassing.
What happened to Americans? Nobody cares. It's embarrassing. Is it embarrassing to be American? I just like that rhyme.
Arrogance, our greatest enemy was always slavery and terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage.
Yeah, slavery was a big enemy of the U.S. Terrorists, we have a lot of domestic terrorism. Terrorism just gonna exist. The United States as a country is one of the only countries that has committed organized acts of terrorism on other countries. You didn't know that. You didn't know that was a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Organized and funded by tax dollars. It's very sad. So it is an enemy of our country, terrorism is, but not just in the 9/11 sort of way. And luckily we don't do the slavery thing anymore, but slavery's not dead either. Yeah, you know that big old continent, Africa? There's still slaves there today. They still buy and sell each other. It's rough in certain countries. But then in America, where we're extremely privileged and there's really like no reason to be upset, everyone's butthurt all the time.
I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness.
Mental illness is a huge issue. If you just look at the suicide rates going, whee! And that comes from the division within the country. You really, like, when you look at the countries with the highest and lowest suicide rates and try to find a common theme, it's not wealth of those countries, because there's poor countries and rich countries that have similar or completely differing suicide rates. It's not technological advances. It's none of that. Where you'll find the countries that have lower suicide rates, you'll find either little to no government existing in those countries, and they're more kind of just societies with government sort of checking in on things, or extreme government, but a society with common shared values. So if you're all on board, then strict government that would look like tyranny from the outside isn't a problem. There's no real solutions, but mental health is an issue, but it on its own box, like just saying, oh, mental health, we have to fix that. Sure, but we also have to see what's causing it. What's causing it in a country like the US is a lot of people believe a lot of different things, and there's a lot of conflict with that, and we also have a lot of privilege, and with privilege and conflict of ideas comes a lot more mental illness, depression, etc. Yay, and we're doing nothing to combat that as a country. School shootings, here we come.
The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I'd say kind of to that. The left people in power will definitely try to censor right-wing people. They don't like right-wing conservatives. Parler got, deleted from the internet. Even though they weren't involved in any of the crap they were blamed for being involved with. So it's not the internet, right? I think what he's really talking about is the main social media platforms and the main multimedia platforms are definitely geared left. And you know who's at fault for that? Conservatives. You know why? Because they suck at making good platforms to financially compete. You made a good platform that financially competed and was built as well. You know, you wouldn't have a Parler situation where you could just get disappeared off the earth because Parler sucked as a platform. If you want representation in mainstream media, you have to play the game right and make profitable mainstream media. The only one I've ever seen do that is Fox News. Fox News is huge. That's completely right-wing. And what's sad is Republicans, the right wing, invented the idea of politically charged media. I don't know if you knew that, but Fox News was the first conglomerate media source that was literally designed, I think it was Nixon that designed it, but basically designed to push a narrative. The conservatives who hate how tilted news is, it's your fucking party's fault. You started it. The liberals hadn't even considered controlling the news. You did it because you didn't like things changing. So you decided to have the news tell people to not let things change. And then the liberals were better at it than you. And then all of us centrists sitting back go, fuck all of you. You suck.
If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets.
Yeah, we don't need to defund police. We need to clean up police, move the funding to different areas and fire a lot of people.
We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me.
Do not tread on me. That's the rattlesnake, don't tread on me. He's saying I don't want to have to fight back with violence if you try to take away my rights. Okay, I don't want it to get to that level.
In America, your freedom ain't free. In America,
freedom ain't free, America. Tom MacDonald hooks. Tom MacDonald hooks, man. Freedom isn't free, it costs a $1.05.
Freedom costs $1.05. Got soldiers dying overseas, so America can say what we believe.
Again, soldiers shouldn't be dying overseas right now. I know we just took a bunch of them out of Afghanistan. We did it in the worst way possible, but in Uncle Biden's defense, we should have never freaking been there. It's always been dumb. It was Vietnam 2.0 from the onset, and everybody knew it. For some reason, we just kept going with it. There was never going to be a victory to be had there because we were fighting an ideology. Unless we were going to literally take over Afghanistan and Iraq and make those American territories similar to Puerto Rico, there was never going to be a resolve. There was never going to be, oh, they'll honor America's wishes and take it from here, boys. That was the mindset going in, like somehow we would teach them to stop breeding terrorists in their own country. Are you kidding me? What kind of fairy tale land are you living in? If you had no intention of taking the country over, you weren't stopping shit. You were just going to keep batting the beehive and throwing money and military weapons into them and making them more equipped to attack us again later. Good job, America. We're really good at creating our own enemies. It's like the story of all the supervillains, like in The Incredibles, where they inadvertently create their own supervillain nemesis. That's what the USA is really good at doing. If we're gonna go pick a fight, you better be ready to like actually follow through. But unfortunately, America's always like, the United States is always afraid of like, oh, but the world won't be happy if we take over other countries. Well, then don't go fighting there. If you're worried that the world's not gonna let you take it over and run it, then don't go there. Stop having young people die for no fucking reason.
My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag.
Yes, our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. Like that one episode of Futurama.
Yet I would gladly eat a flag myself, had I not used my intestine as a rope to hoist a flag made of my own skin, if it would protect the freedoms of the proud people who salute that flag. Yay! Freedoms such as polygamy.
Again, a lot of the people who disrespect the flag and disrespect America don't hate the country in the way that conservatives try to paint it. They hate the state of the country while loving the country and the people in it. There's a vast difference. There are those who just hate the country and are really weird, but the majority of people on that political side don't just hate the country. That was really loud, wee skiing.
If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags.
I don't know if I like this hook. It's catchy like all Tom hooks, but I don't know how I feel about the sound.
America. Does anybody know what the hell happened to the Patriots? Lately, this nation is...
The Patriots are a football team. What happened is they lost Tom Brady. Couldn't resist.
So ashamed and hating itself. Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this ungratefulness? You know.
Again, he's looping around on this whole stop hating the country. That's not what most of them are doing, all right? But this is really made to appeal to conservatives, even though Tom is more of a political centrist himself. His songs are geared more towards the conservative right because the conservative right's more open-minded to centrist ideas than the left is typically, so it's a better audience to target. And centrists oftentimes these days have more in common with conservative right than the extreme left, because even the moderate left has more in common with conservatives these days than the extreme left. The extreme left is something real special these days.
United States gave everything to you just to help. I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family.
Yeah, no kidding. This is mostly addressing, right, the radicalized left these days, the Gen Z cancel left, who do disrespect everything because they've had everything handed to them. Millennials were the same way, right? My generation, it wasn't my generation until recently, but they switched millennials to be like all the 80s babies, so now it's my generation. My generation was often the entitled and had everything given to us generation, but we were raised by, crazy boomers. Gen Z, looked at us and said, your generation sucks. Hold our Tide Pod. And oh man, they made millennials look good. Props to Gen Z. They made my generation look real good.
I don't need your
So apparently Gen X was worse at raising kids than the boomers. So good job, Gen X. I know you hide. You Gen Xers hide like you're not responsible for shit. You're responsible for Gen Z. You can't hide from me, Gen X. Gen Z is your fault. Those are your kids. You suck.
Can I just be thankful for my country, eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualty?
Yeah, like, seriously, Thanksgiving, there was an actual Thanksgiving meal with the Native Americans. That wasn't made up for Hallmark cards. That shit happened. So why can't we celebrate the unity of that instead of being like, but genocide happened? Okay, so are you not allowed to celebrate any holiday if it's associated with groups of people unifying if those groups of people have ever fought? Because damn, if that's your rule, we can't celebrate shit ever again. I don't know if you know this about human history, but we're good at killing each other for dumb reasons. If you're gonna dwell on that for the rest of forever, like, you're gonna live a miserable life. But that's what a lot of people on the left, you know, the radical left want to do. They want everyone to be miserable because they're guilty with how privileged they've been. So they have to go search for struggle and focus on that because humanity, the human condition demands struggle. And if you don't have struggle, you have to invent struggle to give your life purpose.
I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different.
I just seem to see the world different. Now, you see the world normally, right? Tom speaks for the everyman. Tom speaks ideologies that like 8 out of 10 people will agree with, and then the other 2 are radical left. Because the 3 in the middle who might be somewhat liberal or full liberal or, you know, centrist like me, they'll also agree with it because he's not saying like extreme conservative points. He's just saying things that'll piss off the radical left.
It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women.
But the problem is the radical left, those 2 out of the 10 people, are the people that run Twitter and YouTube and all that. Because again, you damn conservatives and centrists, get better at the Silicon Valley game. All right? If you want better representation, stop sucking at that stuff. Pronouns are the biggest danger to the mental health of trans and dysphoric community. I've gone on about this in length before, so I'm not going to go too deep here, even though this video is already 1,000,000 years long. Stop it with the pronouns. You're not going to stop with the pronouns. Gen Z is the next wave, and they're all obsessed with it because they've never seen real problems in their life, so they have to invent problems, and pronouns are one of their invented problems. But boy, if you actually care about people who struggle with dysphoria and have real from birth trans issues, you'd rethink the pronoun game, because really the only truly dysphoric trans folks that I've interacted with, and every study that I've read on this topic, which is a lot, would indicate such a hyper focus on pronouns and trying to change the external view of you rather than having your internal self actualize is very dangerous and leads to a lot more depression and anxiety.
Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions. If you don't like it, go.
People taking pills for fun, people can't afford prescriptions. Oh, that one hurts. Oh, that one hurts just because I know my health insurance bill every month. Big sad. Thanks, guys, for supporting my channel so I could pay for health insurance. This country's fucked up with health insurance.
Oh, hate it, then don't call it home. We don't.
Actually, I should rephrase that. It's not the health insurance company's faults. It's back end deals with big pharma and hospitals and hospital admins getting a lot of money that they shouldn't, and doctors getting a lot of money that they shouldn't. The insurance companies literally are just fronting the bill for all of the shady shit that happens, and believe you me, the insurance companies don't see much of any of that money at all, because the insurance companies are so regulated, they actually have profit margins they have to stay within, and if they don't stay within those margins, they have to change their rates. So the actual corruption is not the insurance companies, they're just the ones that get blamed for everything because they're the ones that you pay. But it's not their fault. It's the doctors, the hospital admins, the hospitals themselves, and the pharmaceutical companies, as well as the x-ray companies, and all those other people inflating costs to get 5,000% profit margins and other disgusting things from rich people who you've never heard of because they like to stay quiet about what they're doing. Welcome to America. This is why some people burn the flag and shit like that, because they find out this stuff happens, saying fuck America for letting this happen because you're turning the blame on the country rather than those individuals, because technically the country is enabling those individuals. See, you could see both sides of these things, guys. There are 2 sides, and neither of them are usually very right.
Need no violence, got no time for all you radicals.
So, left or right, to screw your status quo, we're not animals. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, no, I don't have really much to say there. I just felt like we needed to pause.
Flag is what I'm standing for.
Oh!
In America.
America!
Freedom ain't free.
Yeah! America! Yeah!
That soldiers dying overseas.
I really would have preferred this chorus be in America. Just go full send.
So America.
America!
Say what we believe.
Hey!
My America.
I just realized the audio's never like synced right, so I'm gonna sound like I'm singing off rhythm here. You know what? Fuck you. It's America. I can do what I want.
I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you.
This part's so interesting, the vote. Freedom is the reason. I don't know if that's something Evan did. Evan's the audio engineer for Tom. I don't know if that's something Evan did or something Tom did in the booth or a little of both.
Disrespect our flag.
I kind of dig that. I think that's my favorite part of the chorus, that weird little vocal thing he does there.
If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags.
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting sound. All right, we're going to get the break now before the chorus again.
America.
America!
You can hate the government and still love the country.
There you go. See, that's what I've been saying the whole video. Thanks, Tom. See, Tom's a good old centrist boy like me. He might cater his songs to appeal more to the right wing, which is fine. There's a lot of money there. But I do appreciate at the end of the day, Tom and I would agree on a lot more than we would disagree.
The fundamental values of America are concrete.
Concrete. Well, yeah, because you got to get without the Constitution and the fundamental values, it's just organized anarchy. That's why the Constitution's so important. Some people don't understand that. If we all have a framework we all agree to and we build from that and we stick to that framework, that's how you have structure and success. Once you try to dismiss the framework it's built on, it's just anarchy with dictatorships calling some shots.
Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they
Yes, they are. Thank you, Tom.
use to create chaos and corruption.
Yes, the two-party system is used for divide and conquer tactics by the bigger heads that, the puppet masters.
You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood.
I mean, my history's not even in this country for the most part. My dad's side, I'm trying to think of how many generations his family's been here. I'm not sure, but my mom's side, I'm third generation because my grandparents immigrated. And then my mom was born here and I'm born here. So wait, does that make me second or third? See, I don't really fucking care about those kind of labels. So many people are like, oh, I'm this generation. I don't really care. But anyway, whatever generation that makes me, and honestly, I'm not very close with my dad's side of the family. I'm only close with my mom's side. So I really don't know a lot of my dad's family history. A lot of, you know how most people have that one side of the family that you didn't meet a lot of your relatives. Maybe that's not normal. A lot of my relatives are in jail or dead or whatever on my dad's side. It's a mess, okay? But my mom's side, the Latino side, is where like most of my family knowledge and heritage comes from. So when people talk about like family history and all that, I think of my Hispanic family history. All of this is my roundabout way to say, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's okay to take pride in where you're from, even if there are skeletons in the family closet. You know, I don't think either side of my family ever had any involvement in slavery in the U.S. because my family wouldn't have been in the U.S. on either side of the family during slave ownership days. If my family was, though, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa or whatever owned slaves, that would be something where you look and go, huh, my family's come a long way. Being in this place where at the time that was acceptable, and now we could see, like, why the hell was that ever acceptable? But it doesn't mean that you have to demonize your entire history because there's smudges on it. Because if you go back far enough on any family's history, you're going to find some nasty stuff because people suck. That doesn't mean you can't appreciate where you're from and how far you've come and where you are now. You should be more focused on what you're doing now than what your ancestors did. It should be a good balance.
We started out United States, divided is what we've become.
We started out United States, but we were divided pretty quick. And a lot of that had to do with slavery. If you don't know your history here, slavery was never just an everybody was on board sort of thing. The North and the South started dividing really, really quick, like instant quick, with a lot of the states being like, we're not, slavery is illegal. It's not okay. The country is founded on equality for all. And then the South was like, yeah, but who's all? And eventually that boiled over to the Civil War. And honestly, our country has been fractured and divided from its start. And that was a lot to do with slavery, which is why, you know, when people try to say, oh, slavery was back then, stop talking about it. It's like, yes and no, because it is ingrained today, even with the division in this country. It is an actual issue that has permeated to 2021. And there's a lot of stigmas and bias that have just not gone away. And this country has never been as united as it's tried to put out. It's been better and it's been worse. We're at a pretty bad point for unity in the country, but we're not at the worst point this country's been at. But we are at a bad one. We've definitely seen a lot more unified days.
If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love.
Yeah!
In America!
America! Fuck yeah! I feel like that's what I should play for the rest of this song. Like that feels more appropriate. Hold on. Because I mean, I'll give it to Tom. There's definitely a good, like, pride in your country song for a lot of the right reasons. So I feel like this calls for a celebratory end.
America, fuck yeah!
Oh, you're expecting me to have like an outro and stuff? No, this video's been too long. Have a good day.